G'day everyone. I don't want to jinx anything, but second painting session in 2 days, which this is throwing the gates wide open on the track record. Now, let's have a little look-see at where we're at with this picture. And I'm really liking everywhere where the textures are getting thick. We don't have the ability for zoom today, but we are going to start working with a slightly fatter brush, with the intention of actually landing a few more lugs around this piece. Now, how I feel about it, it is getting a wee bit dotty. And while I love dots, we still need it to have a bit of that flowy, is big paint feel even a term? I don't know. Here we go. Anyway, lonely eyes, da, 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 I can't let go. All right, welcome on in. Who do we have here? A couple of plate. There we go. Now, this is another area of the Gorge 2 team. So behind me here is my favourite tree. Hey, here's Mondo. Welcome on in. One of my favourite trees. I'm going to move you back a little bit further to help you see it. This tree is called a maple. It's a lovely, I don't know where a maple's from, but they've got the most beautiful leaves. You can hear them rustling around my feet. This is what they look like up close. Et voila. Maple leaves. Anyway, gorgeous, gorgeous tree. And at the moment it's in the process of these leaves going red and then falling off the tree, which makes this whole place just look pretty special. Pretty rustly to walk around in, but pretty special. Now, today, now that we've had a bit of expression added to this piece, with a bit of flair, with colour everywhere, the next step is to completely lash it with paint. So we're going to lose a lot of the current detail that's hanging around the image. We're going to throw that to the wind, a lot of that detail that we've been working on, and we're just going to focus on making sure this pasty, yummy paint actually comes in here and takes over large swaths of it. And we actually, like I say, beside the house here, this maple tree, we're also beside one of my favourite little spots. This is the sunroom, which is lovely. So we look like we're out in nature, but we're actually super close to the house, which is nice. It's just sometimes the light hits in the right place as opposed to where we could be. Let me bring you up here. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate you being here. Let me see if the ground's a little bit unlevel, so I just think you're in the right spot. That feels good. Yeah, it's a nice spot there. There we go. So, it's not the most favourite colour that I've got, but we do have to have these underlying greens in this image. Lots of underlying greens to really make this image pop. Otherwise, it'll look like a toddler's breakfast. And trust me, I know what that looks like. It's a mess. There we go. Lonely eyes in the thing, won't let go, I'm waiting for it. Green light, I'm for it. Now the sun actually was diffused before, but it's just popped out from behind the cloud, and now it's just absolutely blasting this area, which is, I mean, honestly, it's not ideal. So let me just poke you in there, team. See if that's a helpful spot to be. Is it going to work for me? It's a bit hard. I'm just trying to find somewhere where you guys are simultaneously level and yeah, that's a good position. You'll be happy there. I think that's good. And we might just alter that back a little bit. Let me just kick that out a wee bit since I'm allowed to. There we go. Now, next thing to go on the platform. Oxide green. which is a fancy name for dull green. Your best colours, hands down, are your primary red, primary yellow, well, Naples yellow, it's better than primary yellow, and primary blue, which sub for ultramarine. But every other colour is just an excuse to go in between those three primaries. They're the powerhouses of any picture that's working with pigments, in my opinion. If you're talking light, then you're talking purple, orange, and green look really good. But green in paint, I know I'm using it right now, but it just doesn't have the same humpha as blue does. You need the humpha. If someone's like, what is the humpha? Just tell them, obviously the humpha is primary colors. Why would you not get that? You know, get really upset about it too. That's a great way to be. All right. This is layer 3 of what I think is going to be 7. But if 7 is going to be the number we land on, roughly, then we need more paint on the surface. It's too, like I was saying earlier, it's too dotty. It needs more texture on it. And I was zooming in, I was watching some of the replay of zooming on the texture, and I was like, there isn't any juice on the surface. I need more 3D effects. When the light catches it, it needs to really pa and stand out. As the light moves around, right now the sun's moving down, it wants to be catching more of those shadows and completely changing the way certain bits of it look and actually seeing more of those textures. And you got to keep the brush loaded with paint, because I don't like the dry brush. I like the brush to look wet. The paint has to look wet. Otherwise, I don't know, dry brushing just, I feel like dry brushing shows off more of the canvas than it does the actual paint. Because dry brushing, it celebrates the texture you're painting on as you sort of scuff across it. But if you're using wet paint, you're celebrating the medium that you're painting with. So each their own, though. You don't have to do that at all. Your follower. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Is it saying, or is it an AI generated thing? It's hard to know, eh? There we go. We got an exciting dinner plan today. Saucies. Nothing quite like a good sausage. And I mean that. Like, they get a bad rap because in the supermarket, there's no shortages on cheap sausages, but sausage, like from a butcher, you know, like one that's really had some care and love put into it, that it's hard to beat it. I love those ones that have the skewer through them and they're wrapped in a big, spiral, effectively. And the best sausage of all, the one that really sits as the creme de crop, would in my mind be a venison saucy. Wouldn't be pork. I don't think pork sausages are that great. But a venison saucy, oh. Deal me up. Venison spiral sausage, and like, honestly, it wouldn't matter what else was on the menu, unless I was really feeling like some ravioli. I am partying with a venison spiral sausage every day of the week. That is just with mash. So you get a venison spiral sausage, mash, and maybe like, I don't know, that's about it. Like maybe are you okay, Loki? You all right? There's a weird way to nap. You want to come over here? Do you want to come say hi? You can come say hi. I haven't got snacks, but you can come say hi. Let me see this here. Here we go. This is Loki. He hangs out with me. For all the people who watch your videos knew you were live, this will be full live. It's full live right now. Yeah, but that's the thing though. That's the great thing about replays. You catch the replay and like, sometimes though, like, it's paint, mate. You wouldn't like it. This is the best dog in the whole world. If you have a dog, so's your one. But for me, this is a good boy. Think about Loki if you're superstitious. Loki ticks all the boxes of a great duck hunting dog. He's got all the superstitious things they look for in a dog. Now, I don't like hunting, because I'm not big on killing things. So, I know, it's crazy, right? But one thing he is really good at, and I love it because it goes back to his primal roots, we've got frisbees, vortexes, that's the one that you throw that goes through the air, and we got endless amounts of tennis balls. So we do plenty of fetch and catch and all that kind of carry on. But even though he is custom built, he is biologically wired to be the best duck hunting dog that could ever exist, he's gonna forever be a frisbee dog. I don't think he's got it in him either, to be honest. I don't think he's big on the old get the dead duck story. He might be. There we go. This just needs to get loaded with green. One thing the gorge has, this is where I live, this is the gorge. One thing the gorge has is abundant nature, so a ton of green everywhere. Now, we're going to embellish it with the colours of the plants around, and I will take you for a few walks around to see these plants that are around, get a feel for them. This is the maple tree. On this side of me here, I'll spin you around to see it. This is the Chilean fire tree. And that was a little sandfly biting me, a little punk. Can you see that one there, or am I dreaming? This one here, that's the end of the maple there, but this is a Chilean fire tree. And the reason why Chilean fire tree is absolutely gorgeous is, first off, when it's windy, it dances. So it's actually going whoosh, whoosh. It'll go almost horizontal in the wind. And the second thing it does is this Chilean fire tree goes in like December, January, same time our Pahutakawa, which is a native tree in New Zealand here, flowers. This tree goes absolutely red, like a firecracker. It is the most amazing plant. I was, yeah, that's how much they dance. I was not too fussed on them when we first arrived, but they're just lovely, supple, beautiful, green, and they go red. So what more could you ask for in a plant, really? And they grow really well here. So apparently they don't grow well everywhere, but here they go off. Absolutely off. You love New Zealand? It is a wonderful place. This is a special little pocket though, guys. This is Tui Gorge. This is something quite precious. How tall are you? I'm 4'2". So the gorge is actually our special little, for Loki, Shelby, and Cooper, slice of paradise, and that's pretty special. We're in the process of planting a few bits and pieces around the place too, because right now, well, we're thinking, what's easy to look after? What's got the ability for you to, you know, have a family, a dog, a career, see friends, and still have time to look after it. So basically, it needs zero upkeep. If it requires a weekly job, that plant is gone. Is it winter right now? It's the opposite of America. So if America's in summer, we're in winter, and vice versa. But I think is it fall? I don't know, guys. I'm as bad with the seasons as I am with the time on the yeah. Have you ever had that awkward situation when you're sitting there and like you're filling out a form and it's like something like the DMV or like it's an important form. They're looking at you while you fill it out like you're at the bank, and or the leaves did fall, so there you go. And it's like day, month, year, and like you have this absolute lapse with your frontal lobe, and you write down the day and you pause a little bit, and they go, oh, it's May. You go, all right, so now that's 5th, and then you go, is it still 2015? And then you pause on that one, and like you're trying to recall. It's nothing makes you feel like more of an idiot. And I wonder if you're working in a bank and you've got people coming on in, how many? Is it just the Alzheimer's people and me, or is it are there large tranches of people who just fumble the date? I think it's the pressure of the situation, if anything. Who's that there? Chris, yeah. So one of the big things we need to achieve this time, which is always a fun quest to go on, is in the building of texture, you can get quite liberal with it. And basically, the rule of thumb is, I mean, you can't really go wrong, but as long as you're hitting anywhere, pardon me, that's raw canvas, then you're building texture. So even if it's the wrong color, if it's the wrong hue, it's moving in the right direction. And just to keep it fun and light, we're going to add a bit more light color into the greens. But greens aren't exciting to me. You can't explore greens. You can in nature. You can in nature, but in a painting, paintings really sing when you explore those primaries. And so like I'll use greens kind of like this camouflage, just play with the intense blues and reds that the nature has. But everything I do on the canvas is just an excuse to play with the beautiful colors. And the beautiful colors, red, yellow, blue. Purple got its, it got given a huge amount of accolades because all of a sudden there's royal purple, it's expensive, they have to crush up sea snails to make it. It's a very, very grueling, slow and smelly process to make the color. And then, so basically with purple, they were taking deposits from royals, which is very naughty. They had to take a deposit from the royal before they could make the painting because they couldn't afford to buy the color until they'd been, received half the payment for the commission. Crazy. But anyway, get rid of the hype on it. Purple looks amazing on fabric. Purple looks incredible on velvet. Purple makes such cool mood lighting. But as a pigment, it can't compete with red and blue. They're better by themselves. And Monet knew this. He wouldn't use these mixed up colors. He'd go to as raw as he could and then put them beside each other and let your brain do the mixing, which is kind of what I do in a way, but not, I mean, Monet was a bit more chill with his colors. I get a bit more out the gate. What's your favorite color? Brian. I like pink. I'm a girl dad, so I like pink. Pink's a fun color. Pink's a good color. But the question you've got to ask is, what color do you like when you paint? What color do you like on fabric? What color do you like on fabrics? I love olive greens. Textured olive greens look so wonderful on fabrics. Really fun to sit on and everything. But blues, blue velvet, you're like, oh, it's lovely. It's not as good as blue paint. The best color when it comes to painting, if you're going to use color on a canvas, there is no competition. The best color in the world. There is no equal to it. It's number one. It's at the very top. Ultramarine blue. This color is unparalleled when it comes to paint. Whether you're doing it in egg tempera, whether you're doing it with gouache, watercolor, acrylics, oils, whatever you're doing. If you're using paint, blue, especially ultramarine blue, which means ultramarine is beyond sea. I think it's Latin. Beyond sea. So this is, when they discovered this color, they were grinding it out of a rock, I think, and they still get it sometimes from the south of Afghanistan in a quarry and other places, I think. They found this color so bloody, excuse my language, so gorgeous that they said it is beyond the sea. It is beyond the color of the ocean. It's prettier than that. And then, I know some of you are sick of hearing the story, and then I think it was in the early 19th century, the French government put out a bounty and said, someone figure out how to make this color. And so a French chemist, young fella, figured out how to synthetically make this color instead of actually unsustainably harvesting it from rocks. What happened next? You'll see most ultramarine blues are called French ultramarine blues. It's not because they have more flavor like French vanilla. It's literally because a Frenchman discovered how to synthetically make this color. And so this color here is actually synthetic, which also makes it sustainable and more consistent. So this is a great example of the synthetic alternative matching or surpassing what we were using in a more sustainable way. How wonderful for us. And now the greatest color of all time is pretty on par with the cost of all the other colors. You don't have to pay an arm and a leg for it. Ultramarine blue, get with the party. It's a great color. Cindy, hello, it has been a while. And welcome in. This is my home. This is the gorge. We're gonna have a mountain range, valleys through here, and reflections of the mountains in a watery base here, which is the lake, pool, creek. I'm imagining it a bit wider than it is. It's usually a creek, but down here in the water. So a lot going on, a little bit of sky. But for me, this place isn't so much about big sky. We're celebrating the shutdown. This is a place where the trees come up around us and nature rules. And then we actually go down. The gorge goes deep. It goes down and it's steep. And in that steepness, it goes deeper, 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 deeper on what's superficially got a bit of dirt, but actually it's rock underneath. So we want to celebrate the steepness of these banks and cliffs, but not have it look unsafe. So it's steep, but it's not safe, but like it's steep, but not dangerous steep. And then it goes down to a body of water at the bottom. That's what we're trying to capture here. Now, the other big one is when you talk about favorite colors as well, a lot of us, our experience of color doesn't come from the world around us anymore, from paint, from fabrics. A lot of houses, and it breaks my heart, are white and black. It's all they are. And they go, what color is your house going to be? Oh, I'm doing it up for resale, or I'm just nervous. I don't trust my own taste. So what are you doing? You're literally just painting the walls white. And then you wonder why you've got anxiety and why your eyes hurt and why you don't feel good, or maybe sometimes you feel creative enough to hang a little singular picture on the wall. And like the only way to counteract that level of white that we're all running into these days in my mind is you need a giant, crazy, not realism, crazy abstract, full color painting on the wall, hey birdie, that really jumps out. And then you get that balance. If you've already got a bit of color in your home and you're bold enough to do that, then going for something more impressionist, not as crazy, but not too realism, that suits that home. And then if you've gone full depth, you've got colors everywhere, brooding emotions and drama, you can party with realism. But realism does not suit white walls. It gives me the ick. Realism really suits a house that knows what it's about, you know? But if the house is those muted tones, those whites, those grays, even black finishes and things, crazy abstract paintings balance everything out. They bring back humanity to a space that got muted. Now, it's okay to mute a space. Maybe it helps you relax, but you need to make sure you bring back that humanity. Otherwise, what are you doing? You're just becoming a robot in a space which belongs to you in your home. You say, well, I come home to relax. I don't want all that abundant color everywhere. I'd say the opposite. How can you relax without abundant color? How can you, like, I've got some massive paintings up in my living room on big dark walls. So they just jump out at you. So I've gone full intensity mode in our house. But how could you, like for me, I can't fathom not doing that and being able to relax inside the household. I need that intensity. I need that Shazam, you know. JCG's like, I don't know about that. I don't know. Pretty keen on my white walls. It's okay to have white walls. I just feel like since the 80s, we've been in this process of figuring out how we can remove and mute things. And it's probably because of the abundance we get on our phone all the time. We're just getting constantly stimulated with one thing after the next, our jobs, our life, everything's throwing things at you, billboards all over the show. And so we suddenly just go, you know what? I just need a little peace and quiet. Can you just tone back this one space? No one's gonna throw up a billboard in my house. I just want white. I want it to be simple. I want it to be calming because, oh my God, life is noisy. Try this, try having a crazy home and maybe do less on the phone, maybe less social media, maybe less billboards, maybe find ways. Loki, those are my plates, mate. Got a whole bunch of mixing plates over there. But that's the thing, in my mind. And you can utterly disagree, and that is the beauty of being human. Especially like when you develop tastes, the best way to develop your taste isn't just doing crazy things over your home or areas you have control over. The best way to develop taste affordably is disagree. When someone says something you just fundamentally disagree with, this helps you understand what repels you, and therefore, in the opposite direction, what you connect with, what you're magnetic towards, what feels good. And that way you can already go, right. Because sometimes it's hard when someone says, what do you like? What do you like? Tell me what you like. You're on the spot. Tell me what you like. Tell me who you are. Make a decision now. You can't. And so sometimes it's handy to say, well, what don't you like? Sometimes there's more clarity around that. I don't like A, B, C, and D, and I hate E, F, G. Perfect. Let's line those up, and what's in the opposite direction? Well, actually, in the opposite direction, those things, I kind of like those things. Bang. Now, in that little simple exercise and process, who's developing taste? You are. Simple as that. Simple. Let's grab some more paints here. Viridian green. Fun fact, all the Pokemon towns are named after colours. Violet, Viridian, and the one town that isn't is Palette Town. Palette, paint palette. How fun is that? AAJ, welcome in. Welcome everyone who hasn't been here for a hot minute as well. Sorry for disappearing for so long. And if you see me rubbing my arms, it's these sandflies. They are absolutely abundant and they will not stop. So if I run off shortly, I'll just be grabbing some. We'll see if they slow down, but as we actually approach sunset, I suspect they're going to come out and bite some more. And if that becomes the case, I am going to run off and get some mosquito repellent, sandfly repellent, all repellents, because I hate getting bitten. I get really itchy on it. I see those videos too. You know those ones where the kids are climbing trees or like fetching bees, honey, and like the bees are all around them and stinging them and stuff, and they're just keen for the honey. I'm like, man, something to be learnt there. You need to find something that you want as bad as that kid wants that honey, because that kid is keen for that honey. I've never been keen enough for honey to go up against a beehive. Never. Not once. If you told me to have this honey sandwich, you must get stung by one bee, just one bee. I don't think I've ever wanted a honey sandwich that bad either. You'd have to offer me like hundreds of dollars of raw cash, of cash equivalent in honey for me to get stung by a bee. I just wouldn't want it. Like, so here's a child somewhere in the world who's so keen for honey that he'll get stung 10 to 15 times, if not more, just to have a taste of honey. And here's me. You have to literally give me hundreds of dollars of currency in a first world country to show up. Yuck, right? Speaking of food, do I snack while I paint? Yeah, sometimes. I usually, actually, it's more fair to say I have coffee. And coffee is a hunger suppressing drink. And so you can typically paint for long periods on coffee without eating. But sometimes it gets awkward because we'll be doing a live like this and yarning while we paint, and my tummy will start rumbling. And usually you can get away with it because if we've got the mic here, sometimes it just picks up sound from here. But sometimes if it's a good like guttural rumble, there's no escaping it. And it's you just have to say, that's my tummy, I haven't eaten, it's naughty. But honestly though, a lot of the paints, if you read them, they'll say do not have food or drink anywhere around it. That's a liability thing. Obviously don't eat or drink the paint, but having a coffee while you paint, away from a splashing surface is a lovely, lovely thing. The most important thing is you don't inhale too many of these fumes. Paint fumes are nasty. These are acrylic paints. What are acrylic paints? Acrylic paints are plastics. What are plastics? Things that you shouldn't sniff while they're drying. It's that simple. This thing here, nowhere on this tube of paint, which is, it's golden acrylics. So arguably, I mean, and it is arguably, this is the best acrylic paint available for professional artists. The best. Nowhere on this tube does it say, please sniff me a lot. So do not be the person who sniffs these a lot. Otherwise, you'll find out why artists usually start as realist painters and slowly just get crazier and crazier and crazier. Don't do that to your frontal lobe. Save that frontal lobe, because actually thinking intelligent thoughts, it feels great. But what we're doing right now, this is the only way in my mind that anyone should be using acrylics or oils. We're outside. They call this plein air painting. I prefer to call it outside painting, because plein air just confuses everyone. Painting outside is a great way to say it if you speak English. You don't need to put up barriers. You've already put up enough barriers by doing a creative pursuit. The last thing you need to do is throw up some more by speaking, what is that, French or Italian, to explain that you like to paint outside. What do you think about this? What do I think about? I'm happy for Beyonce. I'm happy for Sabrina. There's a collab coming up. Good for them. I've been hearing spoilers about The Boys. I've never watched The Boys, but I will say that I've seen a lot of the clips on Instagram Reels. So that happens a lot. But I might watch the finale. I may watch the finale, but that's about it. Because in the Instagram Reels, you get the highlights. So you see a lot of Butcher saying the word diabolical. And you see a lot of Andy Starr, who's a Kiwi, by the way, doing all his spectrum of emotions in single scenes. It's quite cool, and he's quite a unique actor, I find, in that these scenes are very rehearsed. There's lines, and he knows the lines, and he studied them to the nth degree because that's his professional role, so he knows what he's going to say. But then when he's delivering the line, he shows this flittering experience of emotion, and I don't know whether he's choreographed that or whether in the moment he allows his emotional pendulum to just flitter around. And that's what makes Homelander's character, to me, quite an interesting one, because not a lot of actors can do that. You know, should I feel emotion? Should I feel sadness? Should I feel anger? I'm uncertain. Like, and he just goes doof, 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 in that single moment, just with quivering his lips and eyes. And that's where Homelander really comes into his own. Awful dude, awful dude. But Homelander was an excellent opportunity for Andy to show off his ability to act. So I think in 2026, the way he's acted that role is quite unique. He's been given an opportunity there, which I don't think a lot of actors actually get. Hello, M. Welcome on, and this is going to be very colourful. And your cat, Rocky. Hello back to Rocky. This is at the gorge here, we've got a golden retriever. No cats at the moment. But the reason behind that is there's so many birds here, and I want to encourage the birds as close to the house as possible. And Loki's too much of a buffoon to actually go near or catch a bird. He's too slow, and he's not very subtle. So birds typically hit the track before he gets anywhere near. But a cat would be quite sneaky. And I love the birds we get around here, the tuis, little blackbirds. You can hear a few in the background, or just, you probably can't with my obnoxious talking non-stop, but anyway. Love tuis. The sound a tui makes, it's so distinguishable that I think it's one of my favourite bird sounds, certainly. Let's get this in here, there we go. If you do have to be somewhere, just do what you need to do, because we'll post this replay in due course. I tried to post the last one, but it didn't go. I think the Wi-Fi played up a little bit, so. But don't worry, those they'll get posted. And it's kind of fun because what I typically do with the replay, I like it to exist because then I go back and watch it, not the entire thing, but I flick to about, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 1 hour, 32 hours. And I just see the painting as it comes together and I can be like, yep, that's where you were hitting the straps. That was a good move. That was dumb. Avoid doing that next time. And here's where we're going to go on the next session. So it's very helpful to be able to watch that replay. Even if you weren't going to post the footage, it's handy to film yourself making the art. So that way you can review the footage and go, okay, here's where I'm losing time, or here's where I'm struggling, or here's clearly the bits that I'm enjoying more than others, and you can actually refine your process a bit better by studying that footage. Not the entirety, but like flicking from bit to bit. Should only take about 30 seconds, Let me come on in here. Gorgeous. Yeah, it's a lovely, lovely spot. So around here, the side, voila, Chilean fire trees. You're actually tucked beside, I think this is a, I forget the name of it, but that's the Starlink there. So if you can see on the floor, that's delivering the Wi-Fi that we're using currently. And this part here, there we go. Back to the painting, underneath the maple tree, which you can see all over the ground here. And g'day, Jay Smith, welcome on in. M, that's good. You want to keep doing that, M, because that's a healthy thing. In fact, 99%, if not higher, maybe 100% of people who stopped doing that, they didn't make it. So keep that up, Em. We want to see more of that, as much as you can get. It's free too. Oxygen, you can get as much as you want. Thanks, Jude. Jude's a great name. Coming from the Beatles song. That song Yesterday. I love that Yesterday movie where he sings Hey Jude and Ed Sheeran's there coaching him. He's like, hey, I want to just try that. Do you want to try it as Hey Dude? He's like, oh, no. Very funny. Great movie. Great movie. So, like I was saying earlier, guys, the goal here at the moment is we're landing thick texture on the surface, and we're in the process of just covering all of the canvas. So layer 1 and 2, get some energy, get some expression onto the surface, but on layer 3, we want full coverage. So with layer 4, we can start wrestling structure into it if we want it. Otherwise, if it gets too rigid, too boring, we'll come on back and just keep throwing paint at it. And the good thing is, because we're building texture, every time we make a mistake or need to add something else, whatever we're doing, it'll keep dragging this painting off the surface, and it's just going to become this amazing, thick, textured landscape that when you come up to it, you're going to want to touch it. That's really important. You know you've got the right amount of texture on a painting when people come up to it and they just want to touch it. And it's like candy. It feels, and because it's made out of effectively that's not bulletproof, but like a thick, strong plastic, which is what the acrylic polymers are, what you're talking about then is a thick, strong, what's my trail of thought? Because it's made out of plastics, thick, strong acrylic polymers, it is something that you can touch and clean and wipe without causing any damage, which is important with such a textured surface, because if it gets dust on it, you're going to want to get a damp cloth and wipe the stuff off. But if it's a watercolor work, well, they haven't got texture anyway, but you're kind of in trouble if a watercolor paper piece gets paint on it, you're stuck. That is just going to be what it is. What it is. Well, whereabouts in the world are you? I mean, that's a good question, right? If you want to swap for a day, we need to figure out where in the world you are. I'm going to say Virginia. Just guessing, but let me know. And with a canvas and easel, a little bit of paint and a brush, you could just be doing this. There's nothing stopping you. It can be your fun. And who's that there? Chrissy. Welcome on in, Chrissy. Good to see you here. It has been a while, and sorry for disappearing for so long. But we won't dwell on that. Let's dwell on being back. It's lovely to be back. It's lovely to be here with you guys. It's lovely to have such a wonderful day, and daylight, and trees to be around. I wanted to be by the maple tree. I thought the sun was going to be more intense, but it's actually toned back a whole lot. So we could have gone further into the fields, but we're here at the moment. So this is my house. This is my lovely maple tree. I can't say my, it's Shelby and I's maple tree. And by association, it's Cooper's maple tree. And we're just in the process of doing a bunch of projects. Number one of the projects on the list of priorities is the studio, which is getting the exterior and interior painted at the moment. So, but we don't typically go in there to paint. It's not for that. The painting happens outside, where the fumes themselves can immediately disperse into the environment and not clog up in us and ruin our frontal lobe. That's not the game that we want to be playing. And Loki's currently going at my croc. That's an ugly type of shoe. And sad though it is, he's got this taste for shoes right now, and it's very, very hard to train it out of him, because on one hand you're thinking, he chewed up my shoe, I've got to teach him a lesson or tell him off. But at that point in time, it's 18 hours or way later. So what are you going to do? How is he going to associate the two things? You're just actually disciplining a dog that's moved on. And the other thing too is disciplining retrievers, I can't speak for any dog, but retrievers work basically solely on positive reinforcement. Negative reinforcement doesn't help a retriever understand the issue. They just start thinking you're a psycho. So you have to figure out the behavior that you'd like to stop, figure out how positive reinforcement, and teaching the dog that, no, this is what I want. And that's how they best learn. So really, really interesting, because I've been on a massive learning curve with now that I've got a retriever. I've got to learn how to look after it and make sure, well, a whole bunch of reasons. It's a safe family dog. It can't just be a rabid wild card scampering around the paddock. It has to actually integrate, and because it's a bigger dog, be a little things like when guests come over, does it leap up on people, or does it wait and patiently relax and sit down and wait for, okay, I've calmed down, it's exciting guests are here, I'm going to go over to them and sniff them now. The kids have seen me, they've got used to me, and now they are ready for me to approach them. Does he do that, or does he run up, wagging tail, and leap on, 3-year-old children with his big paws and things? This isn't fun for the 3-year-old. The 3-year-old wants to feel safe and in control in those situations. So, trying to teach that into a dog. Now, the other thing that I love, colour doesn't really look good on white on a painting. When you have the canvas showing through, we've kind of gotten to a craze of doing it because, it's cool and hip to be like, I didn't need to paint that part of the canvas. I was whimsically focusing on other areas, like whatever. Black's a wonder class. You get black underneath, and like sometimes you'll find black gessos, black canvases, and then you pull color out of the black, and provided you're using the color thick enough so the black doesn't win through underneath, it creates a very, very cool effect. Black poking through looks way better than white poking through. White poking through can come off sometimes, depending on the artwork. It can be like a little bit lazy. It can feel like it's a little bit, it kind of feels sometimes when you see the white canvas coming through on works, a little bit arrogant, like as if the artist didn't care enough for your viewing experience to cover all the canvas and felt like in the few strokes that I've done, I've given enough to you to appreciate a creative masterclass. Like, or have respect for the eyes that have been cast onto your work and cover every inch of it, you know, and celebrate every corner of it and give the person viewing it something to find in every little corner and piece, you know, make it exciting. Are your eyes down here in the valley? Are they looking at the reflections down here? Are they up in the sky? Too often do you find like a sky which has just one coat of paint and they've been like, oh, it's, you know, it's blue, it's done. Like, get some texture, get some excitement in there. Just because it's flat in your subject image or it feels like a boring piece to you, doesn't mean you can't play, add intrigue, add just little things that really engage you, you know, and maybe not from a distance. Maybe the colors are actually quite simple there, but when you come up close, there can be little Easter eggs and pockets of detail, you know, things that make every corner of a painting meaningful. Because if it's going to be in a home, you know, in your life, there needs to be a million little things that you actually keep learning from it and coming to. Not that, oh, I like this part of the painting, the rest of it's a bit boring. You know, it needs to be, the whole surface needs to be giving something to the person who cares enough to look at it. Otherwise, you can't blame someone for getting disinterested and then looking at their phone instead of your painting. Like, that's, if they're walking through a gallery on their phone, I mean, you kind of need to blame the paintings for that, not the disassociation with reality, you know. Yeah, checking your phone is just a death sentence to fun, you know. I used to, like when I'd go out, when I was younger, and you'd go out to like a club or something, or like a dance place, I couldn't stand the clubs, the doomfa, 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 doomfa. It didn't make sense to me why I was there. And Ed Sheeran released that song of like, the club isn't for me, so the bar is where I go. I like the bar, you can hear what people are saying and things, but the doomfa, 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 it's, yeah, I would spend the whole night in a place like that, resisting the urge to check my phone. Like, no, you checked it 60 seconds ago, nothing's happened, you don't need to, but everything else is so boring. Like, don't get me wrong, I love to dance. Me and my daughter, we throw unicorn dance parties at night, and they are amazing. We get the lights, they're those Philips Hue bulbs, and so the lights are going with the music, and we got the wiggles going, you know, it's Wiggle Town, and everything's popping. But going to a club, just, like, what are you gonna do? Not hear what someone's saying? Like, being able to talk with other humans is part of the fun, and you just take that away. Like, I need a bar with a carpeted floor, because otherwise the sound gets too reverberating and I'm not hearing anything. So let's find like a little gastro place with like tappers where you can just like not get FOMO on the food. You can get like 4 or 5 things and it doesn't blow the bank, because they're little and, you know, peckish things. And then give that floor some carpet, and I mean, we're gonna have some fun. That's the game I'm playing. G'day John B, how we doing? Is it fall in New Zealand? It is, and the reason you can tell it's fall is because the leaves fell. Just in this maple tree here right now, but they are just gorgeous and red. And this maple has just been giving and giving and giving. I love this tree to bits. I remember maples from my childhood. My old family farm had maples all over them. So for me, it's a very nostalgic plant. I like it, I like it, I like it. And there's another one around there which has these beautiful purple flowers, and it's been flowering for just months. And I love that. Usually flowers are so fleeting. They show up and they disappear. Annuals and perennials, they're just there and gone. And this thing has just been flowering non-stop. It just will not stop. So something really special there anyway. Summer in Canada, it will be, because, I mean, it makes me feel like it's winter here, because we always yin-yang. Whatever you're doing in Canada, US, is typically we're doing the opposite in New Zealand. So you're doing one thing, we're doing another. And that's the party that we walk. And so when I was working, I've spent, I think, 7 or 8 summers in the States. When I was doing that rotation, you do the States summer in Maine, and you do that for 3 or 4 months over the summer period. And in Maine, I've never seen it, but it returns to this it basically becomes a set from a Frozen movie, and it just all goes to snow. And then just before that happens, I leave Maine and I come back to New Zealand, and in New Zealand, it's got summer. So I would skip New Zealand winters, which aren't that bad. They're nothing compared to Canadian winters. Backwards and forwards, summer, 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 summer. Like New Zealand weather's quite mild. It's still winter, but it's not like -40 like Canada plays sometimes. That's insanity, insanity. Where have I been, Lisa? I've been hanging out, waiting to push the live button to hang out with you. And it's finally happened, so you've made my day. It's great to have you here. I would love to plant a tree, John, and I'm going to. I've actually had a meeting with my mother here. She loves to garden, and we've had a bunch of trees. She's brought some shrubberies, which I just cannot say without thinking Monty Python. She's brought them in, and we've been talking about possible ways to reimagine this property. You know, maybe the garden moves from here to here, maybe certain areas like around the carport, or where the veggie garden or the herb garden might go, and how that might all work. So we've been doing that process, which is, it takes a lot of thought. When it comes to planting and changing things, I like to sit there and think, and then I'll do like a little thing, and then I'll just like study that little thing. And it looks like nothing's happening, but then when I make my mind up, it's all on, baby. We're gonna go for it. Awesomeness, I love your name. I respect that name. Who is this? This is, well, I'm Seb. Thank you very much for being here. I paint. I am a father of one. Love being a dad, girl dad. I have been off for the last few months, but I'm back, and I have made paintings similar to this. This is quite abstract right now. We're on layer 3 of about 7. Have made these paintings to go all over the world in private households, mostly in the States. And in the States, probably Washington, DC, New York, and Pennsylvania will be the 3 hot places for me. But there is paintings in other places like Laos, they're in Hong Kong, they're in Phuket in Laos, they're in Hawaii, which is an American state, obviously, they're in, they're probably the smallest population of my paintings are in Australia and New Zealand. There's 2 reasons for that. First off, in Australia, the shipping costs from here in New Zealand are pretty much the same as if I was to ship a work to Pennsylvania. So here I am with a piece of artwork, and to get it to my neighbor in Australia, it costs the same as it takes me to get it to Chicago in downtown. Mind-boggling. Anyway, that's just the way it works. And then the biggest concentration outside of that would be right here in my house. Well, my house and my mum's house of paintings. That's where they all reside. So anyway, this picture here is a special one. It already has a title, and it's quite a fun title. It's pretty unique too. The title of this painting is called Crucible of Worlds. So Crucible historic painting at one stage, which was The Valley I Call Home, a really special painting, which the valley was of a place called Sugarloaf in Pennsylvania. And what it was doing was it was capturing this beautiful, and it was so crisp, full of life, full of color, a view of Sugarloaf and this valley that this collector called home. Now this painting here is Crucible of Worlds, and the reason it's that is because it is the Crucible of Worlds, because this painting here, going to the same collector, is going to be celebrating my home. So this is the gorge. This place here is where this painting is going to celebrate. Now the beauty behind this, and the reason for the structure and composition of it, this is a wonderful little tidbit that I'll tell you now because it's starting to come into fruition. you'll notice, and you'll notice more and more as this painting comes into what's the word? Reality. As this painting gets more finished, what you'll start to see is that this mountain range here and this valley do not match the reflection in the water. The reflection in the water, it's more of a rounded mountain, and yet this range isn't articulated down there. Why is that? Because this mountain, if you reverse the whole painting, is Sugarloaf from the previous painting. So completely different subject matters, but this is because the picture went to Pennsylvania, which is up there for me, the top of the globe. That's America. And this one here is my home, the Gorge. And so it's the reflection of it. The valley I call home, the top in Pennsylvania, Crucible of Worlds, the Gorge, the upside down of the valley I call home. And so compositionally, not perfectly, but compositionally for the large elements like Sugarloaf, the mountain that the valley captured, Sugarloaf is there if you reversed it. And so they have this wonderful connection. And when you say Crucible of Worlds, it kind of has those connotations of, you know, connecting two worlds, but you've also got, it's got nothing to do with it, but similar to, you know, Stranger Things, you've got the upside down, you know, a reflection of each other, two things that are synonymous in so many ways, but also so very different. And it tries to celebrate that. So in the same way that both of them have this amazing lush intensity to their nature, you know, we're both in these places that they're not concrete jungles where most people live. They're incredibly primal, full of nature, green bush everywhere. And then it's about grabbing the colors in that, these reds, these blues, and pulling them out of that nature to really make a meaningful image out of that. So, Crucible of Worlds, but when it's called Crucible of Worlds, it's Crucible of Worlds of the Gorge. Gorge is a pretty interesting place to live. You are more than welcome to buy a print if they go available. So I'd love for you to have one. I will actually, in my house, I'll probably get a Valley I Call Home and a Crucible of Worlds, and I'll put them kind of similar beside each other, or maybe on each side of the hallway. So that way I can kind of enjoy the connection that they have with them. And one thing I need to do too is make sure as we track towards layer 4 and layer 5 that actually we are trending compositionally in the right direction, that we are that the relationship between them feels right. I don't want to just suddenly put them beside each other and say, oh look, wish I hadn't put the salmon in that one, but it's there, so there we go. I want to make sure they actually have a good relationship through the layers. The best way to do it, the best way would be if I actually had the Valley I Call Home here with me. But I've got to be careful, because if I start doing stuff like that, first off, it'd have to get shipped back here from the States. But you don't want to get hung up on the previous one to limit the current one. They both need an equal amount of love. And so the vacuum of having the Valley I Call Home not here probably allows this one to have more of an identity in and of itself. What a mouthful. What a mouthful. Where else are we going to go? Let's grab... Part of me wants to just leap on those reds again, but I just need to chill out on that, because there's the right amount right now. I just love it because it's so simple just to keep grabbing the red tube and throwing more of it at it. Mr. John R. from Canada. We are not in Auckland. Love Auckland a bit. New Zealand's most populated city, and the one you'll fly into if you visit New Zealand. But we are in Tauranga, so 2.5 hours south. And it's a bit of a shame, because I had a collector actually come to New Zealand, and he was in the South Island, and I think he stopped by Auckland. But when he realised that I was kind of, 2.5 hours from Auckland, we're not in the Wop Wops, but we're not central in that sense. Kind of are. You can catch a flight to Tauranga, you know, so we're here. But even if you come on the cruise ship, or if you fly into Tauranga, we're about 30 minutes, if not more, back from that, 45 minutes back from that. where the studio is. So if you've only popped on the cruise ship for the day, it can be kind of tough to actually tick that box. But anyway, there is that. Now we've got this one, and then once this one's completed, we're actually backed up with, there's a couple of commissions that we're in talks about, but actually, and people who are waiting, and I'm so sorry for me to get back to you. I apologize for that. I say that, you're probably not here in the little group we've got on the live, but definitely not here in that group, but if they're watching the replay, obviously. Now, but there's two locked in. So one's going to be fun because we haven't done this in a while. It is a doggy portrait. We haven't done a dog portrait for nigh on 9 months. And so I'm pretty excited. I don't want to do only dog portraits. I couldn't handle being a commission painter just for pets, but I love leaping across to a dog every now and again and just making it happen. Now this one's kind of special because it's a golden retriever portrait. 2 golden retrievers in the portrait. In the middle, ocean all around them, really cute shot. And one of them, this is where it gets really fun, one of those golden retrievers is Loki's dad. Loki's my golden retriever. So kind of fun, to be honest, kind of privileged to be able to paint that. And then the other one is very unique. We've painted Antarctica before, flocks of penguins and things like that. This one here is a painting of a ship that used to travel around Antarctica. A ship that used to do some research, all those sort of bits and pieces. And I am painting that for a lovely lady who lives up in Auckland. But it's going to be fun. A lot of negative space in it, so it's going to be fun to see what we do with that negative space. You know, massive amounts of ice shelves and things like that. If we can actually figure out, all right, what is going to make this not just a big white scene, but actually have this special element underneath it. So we'll still have the color in it, but it'll have that muted nature of it. So it's more, you know what I mean. I need to focus on this painting though. But they're in the agenda. They're on the way. And maybe, I mean, it depends on the speed we're making things with, but maybe there's a few other people who have requests for some very fun things. You know, landscape shots, people shots. I try and mix it up a little bit. I try and go from landscape to portrait to genre image and you know, rotate it around a little bit more impressionism or realism, a little bit more abstract, and just keep dancing around these different concepts to make sure you don't become stale, basically. To keep exploring your style, see where it takes you. But yeah, so this one to a dog portrait, to a landscape genre piece, boat, ice. So kind of fun. Good little bit of difference there. Good little bit of difference. And it's getting nippy, team. So we're getting a little bit colder out here. A little bit colder, but it's all right for now. And like I say, the end goal of this layer is to make sure all the white canvas is covered. No white canvas wants to be left after layer 3, and that will mean that when we come in here and attack it on layer 4, we can focus on figuring out what are the shapes, what are the colors, and what is the style that wants to be here for the finished result. There's no guarantee any of these colors, any of these moments are going to be here at the end. All we can guarantee is that we keep the texture. We want that texture, we want that thickness, we want that the fun of stroking the surface and feeling all those little different moments. We need that, especially with landscapes. Portraits don't really need texture like a landscape does. Landscapes must have that texture to really jump off the thing at you. Easy for you to say, What do you mean? I mean, about landscapes and texture, it was easy to say. I almost said it all with one breath. And yeah, Instagram is, it's simple as Sib Gower art. So Instagram, you can't post the live replays because it's short format content, but just for a bit of fun, I chuck these through the Instagram edit tool and then I cut them up into a smaller little live sequence. So that way you've got a whole bunch of like little 15, 20-second videos which work with sound, and they can be a little bit of fun, I'm also pretty happy that TikTok Live has gone on a full journey on its own, and excuse me, just had an itchy nose. And I feel like there was a weird moment there where there was like endless NPCs, which were like people who were just like doing the same thing for a tip or things. I feel like that culture's kind of left. With a bit of luck, there's more people who are showing, talking, showing lifestyle, being themselves. Because at the end of the day, that's kind of what life is. It's the alpha and omega. You've got alpha content, or like this content over here, which is all curated, increased saturation, trying to look good for a little 8-second little video and things to go viral. And then with live content, you don't have that. You've just got raw content, and you can't not be real. Like, you can't be fake. We still could be fake, but it's harder, right? Because you're in the moment, you have to be you. You can't like frame it. Sometimes I've had some people that I've met who are, minor celebrities, who I see their content a lot. I'm like, oh my God, and I formulate this picture of who they were from short form content or YouTube videos, and I meet them and they're not that. They're completely different. And I think, that's my fault. You chose the highlights and I saw you as the highlights, and actually you're not that person. You're fine, but you're not, yeah. Anyway, are you an alpha? No, I'm not. I mean, am I? I don't compete. Sub me out of the competition. I'll just be playing my own game. I'm a girl dad. It's funny you say that, Em. I'm like middle class famous. I'm like not even that. I'm like, we've got a massive community of people, but it doesn't really dawn on me sometimes. Like, on Instagram, there's about 150,000 followers, and I'm sometimes scrolling Instagram, I see someone's content, I go, this is great art, or this is funny, and I'm like, wow, they're popular too, look at this. And I start liking and following their content, and then I forget, I don't even notice that, there's these, it's a shame that these, that followers would be any kind of example of intrinsic value. It's silly. And the AI probably listens to it. Like, if you've got more followers and you post something, maybe more people see it, but like, it's a gross thing as well. And that's where I really, really, really liked Reddit. Did anyone here go on the Reddit? Ryan, hello. Did anyone here go on the Reddit live? It was called like, what was it even called? You know how Reddit had a live thing? And they pulled it down. Arpan Studio. Okay. So the Arpan Studio was possibly the greatest creation in social media, and Reddit pulled it down. Broke my heart. But anyway, what it was the Arpan Studio was, you go live, and no matter how many followers you've got, and that's what I love about it, no matter how many followers you've got or what you've done, your live is equal to every other live on the platform. Everyone's equal, no matter what following you've got, no matter who's there, whatever. You go live, and then on the merits of that live and who you're hanging out with and what's happening, lives become more popular and less popular. And what happened was, really good, fun content, real content would come to the top. Things that were real, not just silly. And you'd have things like, one of the fun things was an eagle nest. And everyone was watching the stream of this eagle nest for like wildlife style. And then you just didn't have to worry about popularity at all, because all you'd have to think about was, hey, we're on a live, and all you have to do is push the live button and do it. Kinda just like on Instagram right now. Like, you don't have to think, and it's really easy to read the comments because you drag across the comment section so you can read them easily. It's a wonderful experience, but it needs to be simple, because the more you have to try for it and set things up and do different things and fake it, for lack of a better term, the more unreal, staged, and fake it becomes. So I will admit, sometimes I get out that big camera, but the reason we get that big camera out is so we can zoom. Because at the moment you guys are stuck. You're fixed to the spot. I can kind of twist you around a little bit. I'll ask for permission first. But the problem is I can't zoom in on the work as easily without disrupting the whole setup. So it's really good to have a camera that can zoom, because that way I can show you guys, especially later in this piece, what that texture looks like. Instead of me just saying, trust me, it has texture, I'll be able to say, you know, let's zoom in on this piece and I'll show you what I'm talking about. By golly, it's getting cold. It's not winter in New Zealand though, is it? It's fall, right? When we're moving into winter. This should and does look like an absolute mess right now. This should not look like a gorge that makes sense in any way at the moment. This is layer 3. Layer 3's job is for full. What's up, buddy? What'd you find? You found anything yummy? Or have you just been chewing on things? Have you been chewing on things? This is Loki. Loki's a good boy. Hey, are you a good boy? He's a good boy. He's a very good boy. It's spring in California. I love California, North California. Driving that road, yeah, it goes up and down. And your redwoods, they're in California, right? My God, oh my God. Biscuits and Gravy, I recognize that name. I think I do. Or am I imagining things? Otherwise, there's another account similar to that. And I just want you to know that there's someone who likes biscuits and gravy as much as you do. So watch out. Not me. I'm not massive on it. I'm excited for you, but another account has that as their name. Someone else is passionate enough about biscuits and gravy to also have it as their username. There we go. And you can see, like, since when we started, there was way more colors jumping out here, and we have started dominating this surface with a whole bunch more greens. There has been, in a sense, we've actually dulled it down a wee bit, which it's less exciting than it was. That's okay. It's not the end of the world, but it creates the base in which we can bring out the work that we want. And if it gets too textured, we can do, and it sounds counterintuitive, but we can do a little bit of flattening off in areas with mediums that dry clear. So we put those mediums on, flatten off the area, get some more detail out there, but still keep celebrating texture around the rest of it. But anyway, at the moment, more colour, more colour, more colour. Loading it up there. Hello, M. Oh, sorry, M. You've been in here for a while. Well, guess what? When you say tip-top shape, it's funny you say that, because guess what I did just the other day? I ran a marathon. That happened. Love the doggy, yeah. So his name's Loki. Not Loki like the god of mischief, although sometimes you might think so. Loki like low-key, because he's a low-key dog. And hey, Seth, it's been a while. Good to see you back here on TikTok. Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate that. It's good to be back. I appreciate that. And this painting, Jack, is the gorge. This place here. You're at the gorge. I'll give you a little bit of a twist around. Just a little bit of a twist. Here we are. So you can see down there, Loki sitting down there, that's the Starlink there. That's providing the Wi-Fi. Little box of cables just in case. Now, these trees, they provide a bit of wind shelter, but what they're really doing, the big part of what they're doing, is they are, well, the bank slopes off down there. It turns into the gorge, it goes down deep with the water at the bottom, but it's the wind really that whistles through this gorge that they protect me and my family from. If you lop them all down, you're really on the edge of this kind of ridge, this cliff on the edge of the gorge, and the wind would just wallop the house. So you don't want that. You want that to be, dare I say it, fairly subdued. There we go. But anyway, so me and a friend, great guy, he's a commercial painter. I said to him, let's run this marathon. So we ran this marathon. We didn't run this marathon. We 3 days beforehand, neither of us had trained. Hadn't done anything, hadn't gone for a jog, hadn't gone for a run. And the day before I thought, by golly, I better do something. He said, are we gonna do this? I said, absolutely, we're gonna give it our best shot. The day before I thought I'd run 10Ks and just see how I went. And it was hard, yuck. And after doing that, I thought, all right, so I just have to do 4 times more tomorrow and that's the marathon over. Anyway, it wasn't 4 times more than 10Ks, a marathon's 43Ks. So I had to do that. And it was the whole way around a lake called Rotorua. So anyway, we ran that. It took me 4 hours and something. Probably, I think it was closer to 5 hours. It wasn't over 5 hours, it was 4 hours something. And really good fun. But now we're thinking about entering another one, which is dangerous. But the problem is I don't like to train for them. It takes too much time, Pick running as a hobby? I mean, you could do. Casey, you don't like it? I am enjoying this piece. This is on layer 3 of 7. But that's okay, Casey. You don't need to love this one. And the reason you don't need to love this one is because this one is a commission. It's already gone burger. But if you DM me or email me, I can show you what is available. It's not listed online, but you can get prints online. But in terms of the actual artwork, physical things right now, there is no physical art available. I've got there's about 4 pieces at my mother's house, big portraits, big faces. I love doing big faces. And then there's about 4 down here. Clint Eastwood's in my house. I love that piece. I've got Bangkok Waterfall. That's actually a similar vibe to this one. Love that one too. They're both with black frames. No, Clint's naked, no frame at all, naked Clint. And then we've got Bangkok on a black frame. And then I've got Azul. I've got Azul here too, which is gouache work. And just, it looks really nice as you're walking down the corridor to Koopy's room. At the end, it's simple, it's calming. I mean, then Clint is just a lot. I love paintings that are a lot, you know, so he's in the living room where the ceiling's tall enough to handle it. Makes it quite magical. You forgot it's fall in my part of the world. Hey, no offense to that, I forgot too. It's easy. We don't get the, when you talk about fall in Canada and fall in the US, it is a different kind of fall to what we experience here in New Zealand. We have mild falls. I'd call our fall more of a gentle trip, is a better way to describe it. That's where that goes. I mean, funny thing too, when Casey says you should stick to running, she hasn't seen me run. It's not pretty. It's kind of sad actually. I kept up with the 4-hour pacer for about half of it. You know, I dropped back to the 4:30, and then in the last sort of 5Ks, the 4:30 pacer gassed me out, and I landed between the 4:30 and the 5-hour pacer. But like at the end of the day, didn't train, showed up on the day, felt really good to just show up on the day. You know, you're really a guy, you're just a dude against the world, you know. All the odds are against you. And as long as you don't get, you pull something or get injured in some way, you'll finish. Just mind over matter. You'll hit the wall. You'll definitely hit the wall at about 30, 35 Ks. And then you just push past the wall and it's over. It's done. It's a lovely experience. And then you don't need to run again until next time. I'm glad I didn't run 5Ks a day every day and face the discomfort of that when you can just show up on the day and do it. Done and deal. Is that Monet? It's funny you say, is it Monet? It's a Monet style. Some people think it's a Monet style. Other people, Casey, who was there earlier, she hated it. And there's another guy who says, he hasn't said it here, he's on Instagram. I haven't gone back to him yet. He said, my 3-year-old could do better. And it's funny when you say things like that, because the thing about a 3-year-old doing better is Picasso, one of the world's greatest artists, actually said the entire process of painting and being an artist is trying to remember, or I'm paraphrasing here, the inspirational playfulness that you had as a child. So technically, yes, your 3-year-old can paint better. And I'm just trying to return to what that 3-year-old knew, had, or understood. That's truth. It is a bona fide truth. We can take these off now. The light's dipped behind a cloud, so we can finally see the world as it is. Lovely. They're amazing glasses though. They go dark when it's lighter, and then as it gets lighter, they've got a name, like tintable lenses. They change. Don't know how the technology works. It does though. Loki's charging into the bushes. He loves this place. Cooper and Loki absolutely love this place. It's for a young girl and a dog, this is an amazing, amazing house that does everything that she needs, which is, it's just special to be a part of. We picked the right place for a first home for our family. We live out of town a bit, but that's how you get space, you know, and we love space. Thanks, Em. Yeah, I do find that out of all the content you can make, live feels the most, thanks John, feels the most natural. Who's that there? Geeky Broken? Hello. Live feels the most natural because you just set the camera up and then you do what you do. You don't need to worry about editing things and deciding what should stay and what should go. Everything's just out there on display with live. You're just making content literally as you're just being yourself. Whereas otherwise, if you're doing stuff, you know, filming for a video, you have to then go home and edit the video. But I don't have to do that. I can just literally go home and spend time with my family. I can then make canvases, frames, or whatever else. I don't need to worry about, you know, this is it. This is where the hammer meets the anvil. We all just hang out here. I post the replays, and then edit the footage. But if you're going to make art, there's not really the time to go out there and do other bits and pieces as a one-man band. You have to actually, first and foremost, no matter what you're doing, prioritize the actual art and the making of that art. And then your content, or excuse me for saying it, but your following, or your clients, everything has to be second to the making of the art. And a lot of the time, and the thing that artists find really tough is thinking, well, but I've got to make content, otherwise people won't find my art. I have to get visual, make a portfolio, put things online, talk to people, go to galleries, whatever it might be. Yes, you do. You do have to do those things. But try and make it take the back seat, or integrate without affecting. And like, that's kind of what live offers an artist. Like, you want to see how they do it. You know, whether it's a quiet, brooding, lonely process at 1 a.m. in the morning. You know, there's kind of burning wicker flame beside them while they gently paint, you know, a depressed picture. If that's the process, show us that. How does it work? You know, if it's a boring process, you know, some people might be into that. a realism painting, for example, you want to know that the actual process of it was taken really seriously. And then with a painting that I make, which is abstract, a bit more impressionist, starts as a mess, as a disgusting kind of crazy, wild, blobby thing, and then a painting emerges from it. Fun to watch that happen. Fun to watch that happen. And then also to see if I actually did instill a bit of the, a bit of joy and a bit of fun into it. Was I having fun when I made it, or was I just, kind of depressed? Because I want to actually embellish this with a feeling. I want to transpose joy onto the surface, transpose excitement, transpose fun. And the live is basically two things. It's the verification that that's how it happened, definitely. And it's also, what's that word? Providence. So suddenly the painting, we still do certificates of authenticity because they're old school and everyone loves them. But the real providence that can come from a painting is, how do you know it's that one? Look, here's Seb for 15, 16, 20 hours creating this project. And you can see every single brushstroke, how it came together, and me saying over and over again what the painting is, how it's been made, all that sort of carry on. And here we are. Voila, it gets made. Love all your artwork. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that. It polarizes. Some people love it, some people hate it. No one's really indifferent to it. You either enjoy how fun and impressionistic it is and colourful, or you think, I hate his artwork and him, and it's good that it goes to both sides. The worst thing you can be in a world like of 2026 where we're scrolling, where attention's thinning, be bland. If you're bland, that is the death sentence of an artist. You don't want to be bland. Van Gogh wasn't bland. He wasn't noticed, but he wasn't bland. That's kind of, I don't know. I think you go to art and to music. Like, bland isn't a category of music, and bland isn't a category of art. You have realism, and sometimes realism can be bland, but it's not bland. That's not a thing. This isn't Rotorua Moon. This is Tauranga. This is Tauranga. And in Tauranga, we are making a picture of an area of Tauranga. Actually, this is the gorge. So behind Tauranga, behind the lovely beaches and mountain, the mount down there and things, and the surf and all that kind of carry on, you come on back and the mountain ranges of Tauranga turn into these lovely gorges, and it's called the Kaimai Ranges, where this range comes up, stands above the landscape, and very tall, very deep. And so I'm on the side of one of the deep parts. So the deep gorge, g'day mate, like he's got a stick, runs down there, and I'm imagining the body of water being larger than it actually is. I've made it almost a bit more river or lake-like to celebrate more of New Zealand's landscapes. But there is water down there that does pool and things like that. So exaggerating that feature, which gives me the opportunity to reflect the mountain that we talked about being the key part of this picture. Hey Timmy, welcome on in. I'll just show you the old mate hanging out down here. How you doing, Loki? There you are, buddy. What you doing? You'll be very careful when you're painting with a dog around, because one thing I like to do is sometimes I leap back, as I'm painting, or I stomp around. But I have to think carefully, because there's a tail down there and a dog, and he doesn't like it when I step on those. Ideally, no one would. That sounds awful. So I've got to make sure if I am going to move around that I just do the old quick double check and verify his position. So that I ensure a safe work environment. That's important. All right. There we go. Now, this is just plain old titanium buff, bit of brown going into white. But what it's allowing me to do is, inside all these greens, bring back some of that lighter structure. But more importantly, it's also allowing me to add a lot of texture. white by itself doesn't have a whole lot of strength. You've got to add just a little bit of a tint to it, so you get a little bit of the form to it. A lot of colours perform better, especially yellows and light colours. By golly, it's cold. But we're almost done here. Yellows and light colours will perform better when spliced ever so subtly with another colour. Blues and blacks and things, they tend to hold up on their own. They don't want anything with them. They'll party, they'll stick out, they'll be fine. But you'll find that especially yellows, as the weakest of the crew, they'll really, really want you to mix them just a little bit with something else. A tiny, thank you. And Phoenix Queen, hello. Nothing like look, at the end of the day, it wasn't until I was working in a bar, I didn't realise a single shot was a thing. I thought all drinks were doubles. 30 mils is what it is in New Zealand. But it's funny because in America, it's free pour, and probably because there's no taxes, or there's less taxes on spirits and things. Cheap bottles over there. And then in New Zealand, we have a 15 mil and a 30 mil, but some places treat a double pour as a 45 mil, but that's a triple shot. So like, each to their own though. By golly, I am freezing, but that's okay. We're gonna do one more color, which is gonna be our manganese blue hue. After this color, we're done. So the lovely group of you that are here, all 62 of you, you'll have to find something else to do. Take your dog for a walk, chuck a pizza in the microwave. You know, there's a lot of things that could happen, but the world in the next 5 or 10 minutes, it's going to be open to you. It's going to be your oyster, and you love seafood. You get out there, you do whatever you want to do. But it can't be here, because this live is about to finish. This is like the post credits are rolling. Loki's literally, he's laid down, he's about to fall asleep. Don't be too hard on microwave pizza. Who's that? Bold Dream. Oh, no, that makes sense. Bold Dreamers going hard on microwave pizza because, you know, they're daring to be bold. They've probably got a wood fire oven. If you're going to have microwave food though, why not? You know, why not? I mean, usually saucy things go better, like a shakshuka in the microwave. But as long as you're not putting the plastic in the microwave, you're putting it in a plate. Microwave whatever you want, baby. That's a fun piece of equipment. They didn't have that in the 1800s. Why not enjoy where technology has brought us? What a wonderful, wonderful thing. I do love instant mash. You boil the jug and you pour it into the mash and you stir it up and the party is ready. And sometimes I put a can of tuna through that, and that is the easiest fish pie that you'll ever get in the entire world. And I'm not saying I eat it all the time, I'm just saying that it's a simple fix. And not all meals need to be complicated. I get it. There's space for Gordon Ramsay's style. There'll always be space for fancy a la carte cooking. But sometimes the pizza goes in the microwave, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, I'm just gonna get a bit more through here. This is the end credits though, guys. There's no expectation on what's happening right now. I'm just getting those last little spots I see, those last little pockets to complete layer 3 of this painting. Now I'm saying 7 layers. You know, we had that restaurant scene that took about 35. These things aren't a science, they're not a linear process, they go in all directions. They're an oscillating or porpoising process. Sometimes you think you're ahead, you're not. Sometimes you think you're behind, you're literally one stroke away from finishing. So like it's hard to know what's going on. It's quite exciting though, to always think, especially when the whole surface is covered, that at any given point, you are one stroke away from finishing. That is pretty fun. Hey, I do appreciate the follows too. I know we're getting to the end of the live. I see a few follows popping up. Thank you very much. That means next time I go live, I will show up on your feed. It may not be as exciting next time. You might go, wow, I really regret following that guy. And then you can just subtly push the unfollow button and I'll never know, but I feel good about it right now, so thank you. The Bubs is walking. She has this run and she brings her elbows up to here and swings them when she runs. I think she thinks it helps. It's the cutest thing. Kids are very cute. Kids are fun. I definitely enjoy being a dad. It's definitely, and I enjoy being a girl dad a lot. Because if I had a boy, I'd be like, all right, son, it's time for you to learn how to be tough. But with a girl, I'm just like, oh, I need to show you what you should expect from a man. Have whatever you want. Not always. Sometimes we have off days, Ryan. Sometimes we have off days. And you guys carry the team for me, which is nice. You've got 3 girls, you champion. That's amazing. My best friend's got 1 girl. My brother's just had twins. So in that sense, everything on the up. I'd love 3 girls. I'd love to have 3 girls because then it gets very, very easy for things like hand-me-downs. Easy life. And we've got a lot of hand-me-downs. So simply from a cost perspective. Boys would be great. But now, if I get a boy, I gotta get a whole bunch of new stuff. And then, you know, the thing about boys is that I only realised this once I had kids. You've got boy nappies and girl nappies. No one told me this. I didn't realise that was a thing. And so you're getting girl nappies. And I still don't know what makes them different. They just both exist in the world, and don't get the wrong one. I may have got the wrong one before, but like, how about that? Anyway, guys, it's been a pleasure painting for you. Sorry for where the conversation went. This painting, just a little bit more here, is complete for its layer tres. Layer tres? Layer tres. And we'll call it a day there. I'm going to wash this brush. I've got a new kitchenette inside the house, which is fantastic. It's a cheap one. It's from IKEA. But what it does is it lets me paint, sorry, not paint, wash brushes. Not in the main kitchen, which is a bad practice. You get all the brushes and all that nasty, and you do it at the kitchenette. And then I also use it for Loki's food and his snacks and things. So it's all very, you know, life's on the up. We're getting things quite systemized around here, which is not my strong point. So systemization is occurring, and slowly, which improves everything. Improves life for Cooper, improves life for Shelby and me. We've got a whiteboard now. How lovely. A whiteboard that we write instructions on, or goals and tasks that we're thinking about. Seb needs to put a fence here. Seb needs to paint that. Shelby's doing this. We're doing that. You know, just to try and keep track of things and having little wins. If you can hear that noise there, that's the sound of my pump screeching. So that's one thing that I need to fix. Yeah, costs everywhere. But that's okay. It's not that much for a domestic pump, but that one there's, if anyone knows about pumps, that is what last legs sounds like. So I had the guy out today, and he was a great guy called Tim. He was having a look at it and deciding, okay, here's what we'll do, here's how we'll sort this out. And anyway, with a bit of luck, next time we're out in this particular location and Shelby starts the dishwasher or washes her hands, we won't hear a screeching pump. It'll be the silent sound of modern technology humming water up to the house. Snake ringer. Oh my God, you've showed up literally at the end credits. We're like on the cusp of packing up, but I appreciate you popping on in. And long time no see. Sorry for taking so long. Boys have to be tough and girls have to know that what worth they are to men. Yikes. I suppose so. But they both need to have some fun. Anyway. It's a good looking cow. All right, guys. No worries. Ah, yes, the old camp rotation starting in 2 weeks, because that's how it happens, isn't it? Right now we're going into fall, so, and we're actually stopping, not because we've run out of paint, but I'm freezing. So it must be warm for you guys. And going into camp, yeah, the seasons change. Oh, camp's fun though. Keeps you young. Keeps you young. Vinny, I'm fantastic. And you've reached us at just the end of the life. Yeah. Going into summer. I am jealous. But the solution for me was just start earlier in the day. I started when the sun was, just about to dip. So we've lost that direct light that we had, the world we live in. Anyway, we'll pause it there. This one's coming together. It's looking really fun. We'll come back for layer 4, possibly tomorrow. We'll see how that dries. That went on quite thick. Anyway, enjoy your evenings or your mornings, 70 or 85. By jingoes. I turn that to Celsius. Dun, dun, dun. It's pretty hot. It's pretty hot. All right. Much love for the late game follows, guys. Pink, if I keep hanging around, everyone's going to come on back and I'm going to be saying hello forever. But I am so glad to see you here too, Pink, because it's been a hot minute. And while I'm about to finish this live, I'm glad you've popped on and RIP. No, not RIP. I'm going to see you tomorrow. And M Wolf, look, Pink, we're making a landscape. This is my home where I live. What I'll do just quickly, because since we are about to pack up this live, I have to grab the camera anyway. So you may as well come for a walk with me. And we're going to go until the Wi-Fi cuts out. So technically, I didn't hang up on you. The universe just said no. Now, this is the gorge. So this is my home, and as you come across here, you can see the landscape on the other side, but in the middle there, it dips down really deep, all the way down to the bottom, and these trees conceal how fast and steep that goes down. But what I love about this place is the space. So we got little Loki here. He has a great time hanging out with me, going all over the show. And the beauty of this place, what makes it incredibly special, is the amount of fruit. So this is a grapefruit, and they're sweeter ones, and they're really nice. So unfortunately, they're almost ready, but they go excellent in a gin. Can I say that on TikTok Live? They go excellent with a soda. And then we got other little ones coming in here. Look at that little fella. Loki's just like, it's not meat. I can't eat it. There's another one here called a locust. I'm saying that wrong, but this is a locust tree. And what this is, it has these lovely little tropical fruits on it, all over it, and they're absolutely delicious. Then we have over here, more Chilean fire trees. Yeah, Loki's like, okay, mate, you're running around, show me where the ball is, start throwing the ball. Start throwing the ball. These are panga. Very fun trees. Over here, I need to look after these much better. These are my peach trees, and right now they are not looking very healthy. And then I've got a lemon tree over there. Now, I'm going to bring you into the glade. Now, I'm not sure if the Wi-Fi is going to hold up, but we're going to give it a go. Now, the glade is an open clearing where we're surrounded by olive trees. Now, I was planning on picking these olives. I was excited to pick these olives. But what happened? The birds came in and ate every single olive that I had. So, up here in these trees, these are my massive olive trees that were full, laden with olives. And over the last week and a half, the birds came by and ate every single olive that those trees had. How tragic. And then we have 2 more olive trees over here. That was the whole crop, but it did bring in a lot of birds. The sound was wonderful, and now they're all gone. Now that's the studio, and you can see how far I've got with the paint so far. I'm a busy man, we haven't finished it yet. And then those 2 holes you see there are 2 points of extraction. So you plug the extraction onto it, and it sucks air out. It creates a wind tunnel, makes it safe, but typically though, there's still 3 walls around you. The best place to paint is always going to be outside. Outside, the fumes will disperse into the environment and not ruin your frontal lobe. That is the best way to do it. All right, guys, much love from New Zealand. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you hopefully on a live tomorrow. We'll see. Bye, team.